On August 12, 2021, the Chicago White Sox participated in the first ever Field of Dreams game against the New York Yankees. It was played at a park near where the 1989 movie was filmed, and was the first Major League Baseball game ever played in the state of Iowa.
30 years ago, 30. On the other side of that corn, we filmed a movie that stood the test of time. We've come to see the first place White Sox. Play the mighty Yankees.
It was a very emotional night for the White Sox, not only because they won the game, but also because the shape of the ball field was inspired by Comiskey Park, where the White Sox played for 80 years. The team even wore throwback jerseys based on the 1919 team. For those of you that don't know, the White Sox team from 1919 was one of the greatest teams to ever play, but they lost that series to the Reds in what has become known as the Black Sox scandal.
Gambling is illegal, but bookies have the Sox as 7-5 favorites. Just hours before the first pitch, money pours in, picking the Reds to win.
The team intentionally threw the series to profit from gambling against their own team.
White Sox fans are stunned as Seacott gives up 5 runs in the fourth, including a triple to the Reds pitcher. Cincinnati takes the game in a laugher, 9-1. In a stunning upset, they go on to win the series 5-3.
8 players were banned from baseball for life. It seems strange that Major League Baseball would invite the Sox to participate in such an event, especially since they wore jerseys from one of the most corrupt teams in sports history. After 1919, the White Sox wouldn't make it to the World Series again until 1959, where they lost in 6 games to the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Now only Aparicio stands between the Dodgers and victory. Little Louie flies out to Wally Moon. The Dodgers win 9-3 and bring Los Angeles its first baseball world championship. The players swarm around Larry Sherry. Outstanding.
Tying run at second, 2 out. Palmeiro over the head of Jenks. Uribe charges, throws, out! And the White Sox have won the World Series.
The White Sox finally made it back to the World Series in 2005, where they swept the Houston Astros in 4 games, ending an 88-year championship drought. However, since then, the White Sox have never returned to the World Series and have suffered many embarrassing seasons. In 2013, they lost 99 games, and in 2018, they fell even further, losing 100 games. Somehow, the Sox managed to make it back to the playoffs in 2020 and 2021 before losing steam once again. Then came 2024.
And you could say it's one way to make it into the Baseball Hall of Fame. The Chicago White Sox set a new Major League Baseball record on Friday for games lost in a season. The team's defeat by the Detroit Tigers made it 121 losses total.
This year, the Chicago White Sox managed to lose 121 games. No other team in the modern era of Major League Baseball has ever lost that many games. This team is now considered by many to be the worst in the history of baseball and perhaps one of the worst in all of sports. In their first 25 games of the season, they only won 3 times. From May 22nd to June 6th, the White Sox lost 14 games in a row. And just when fans thought it couldn't get any worse, the team lost 21 consecutive games from July 10th to August 5th.
Chicago White Sox lost their 21st straight game last night, tying the American League record with a 5-1 defeat to the Oakland Athletics. Chicago is on the longest losing streak since the 1988 Baltimore Orioles lost 21 in a row. So they've tied that now.
After this losing streak, manager Pedro Grifol, bench coach Charlie Montoyo, third base coach Eddie Rodriguez, and assistant hitting coach Mike Toser were all fired.
The sentiment among fans couldn't have been more unanimous. The firing of Sox manager Pedro Grifol was certainly a hot topic.
And it was surprising that the White Sox waited as long as they waited to move on from Pedro.
Sox in the Basement host Chris Lanuti agrees while it was the right decision, the conversation now should focus on the Sox front office.
Just changing the manager isn't going to change the outlook for this team. More needs to be invested, more changes need to happen, and it all starts up at the top.
Former White Sox manager Ozzie Guillen even sat on a cactus during a post-game show because he said it felt better than watching the White Sox lose.
It's a cactus.
Okay, cactus. I'm going to sit on it. That might hurt a little less than I just watched today's game.
Oh, yeah. Oh my goodness.
On September 1st, the White Sox lost their 107th game, breaking the franchise record with a month still left in the season. The fans completely turned on the team. The White Sox finished September with only 10 wins. But believe it or not, that was their best month of the season. When reporters spread the word that the White Sox were going to break the record for most losses in a season, people bought tickets to the games just to watch the team lose, hoping to witness history.
Cheer, and it's been tough to find things to cheer about for sure.
Disappointing, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just such a bummer.
Depressing, disappointing, disastrous, fill in your adjective, and White Sox fans will agree they are looking forward to a familiar Chicago refrain.
There's always next year, right?
Oh, sound like
a Cub fan.
It's dead. It's like a morgue. I mean, normally this place, even if it was crummy weather, there's grills going, you see smoke, people are happy, drinking.
Some brave the elements to see history, while others say they will stick by the team, win or lose.
I was here for Game 2 of the World Series. I got to see history. And we figured, well, we'll see the other end of it.
We came for history, the wrong type of history.
During a series of home games against the Angels, the crowd actually booed the White Sox and chanted, "Sell the team."
Sell the team! Sell the team!
Ironically, the White Sox managed to sweep the Angels, disappointing the fans further. Fans who bought tickets at the start of the season wanted the team to win and were upset they lost, while fans who bought tickets later wanted the team to lose and were upset when they won. It seemed like the White Sox couldn't make Chicago happy no matter what they did.
As a baseball fan, you just want to see history, even if it's the wrong side of history.
We'd like to see the record, honestly. Why not?
Well, it's not a good record.
No, I know, but it's still a record. It's fun.
Even though Chicago would not get a chance to see the White Sox break the record, the team did receive a standing ovation from the crowd after their 7-0 victory.
Fly ball, right center field. Perez got it!
The White Sox finally made history on September 27th in a game against the Detroit Tigers. For the first 5 innings, neither team scored a run. In the bottom of the 5th, the Tigers scored 2 runs, but in the next inning, outfielder Zach DeLoach hit a home run, the first of his career, cutting the Tigers' lead to just 1 run. But the White Sox never scored again, and after both a fielding error and a wild pitch, the Tigers won the game 4-1. So how could a team fall so far? In 2021, the White Sox had won the Central Division and played in that historic Field of Dreams game against the Yankees. At the end of the 2022 season, manager Tony La Russa stepped down due to health concerns. He was almost 80 years old and had been managing teams since 1979 when he was first hired by the White Sox. He went on to manage several other teams, including the Oakland Athletics, where he helped them win a World Series in 1989, and the Cardinals, where he won 2 World Series titles. He came out of retirement in 2021 to return as manager of the Sox, but was replaced by Pedro Grifol after stepping down. Grifol had never previously served as a manager. In 2023, the team invested heavily in players, spending large amounts of money on contracts, but the team failed to improve. So White Sox ownership began selling off the team's best players before the season even ended.
Well out of playoff contention. That process continued on Friday, where 3 pitchers have been traded away. Lance Lynn and Joe Kelly are headed to the Dodgers in a deal that sends back 2 prospects and a former White Sox draft pick.
It's a weird time. There's no other way to say it. I think all in all, everybody likes the opportunity to win, but you also are leaving people that you enjoy and that you've created relationships with. So that's the business, but it's also the sour part of it.
Prior to the 2024 season, the record for most losses had been held by the Mets, who lost 120 games in 1962, a record that stood for over 60 years. However, there's a big difference between the 1962 Mets and the 2024 White Sox. 1962 was the Mets' first season in history. They were an expansion team, and no one expected them to have a great season. It's extremely unlikely that another team will break the White Sox losing record anytime soon, although in 2003 the Tigers managed to lose 119 games, just 1 game shy of tying the Mets record, which is ironic since it was the Tigers who ultimately defeated the Sox in their record-breaking game. The 2003 Tigers were nicknamed the Motor City Kitties, but just 3 years later they won the American League pennant.
It's way back! The Tigers are going to the World Series! 3-run walk-off home run!
After losing to the Tigers and recording their 121st loss of the season, manager Grady Sizemore said, "This was not the year we wanted." But maybe, just maybe, the Sox can turn things around like the 2003 Tigers did. Following their historic loss, the White Sox official Twitter page posted an image of a computer with a list of things they'd rather read in the comments. But unlike the White Sox, I'd love to know what you have to say. Please let me know in the comments what you think the future holds for this team. Do you think it's possible they could rebuild quickly like the Tigers did after 2003? Or do you think they have more horrible seasons ahead of them?